Hello dear students, welcome back to the chemistry class. In the previous class, you studied the solubility of solids in liquids. What is the solubility of solids in liquids? What are the factors affecting that solubility? In this class, let us move forward with the solubility of gases in liquids. It's a very important topic compared to that of solids. Now, what is the solubility of gases in liquids? Usually when we consider gases, we will be considering the volume of gases. Instead of considering the mass of gases, we will be considering the volume of gases. Now, the volume of gas, which is expressed in cm cube, okay, volume of a certain gas, it may be any gas, which is expressed in cm cube. Dissolved in, completely dissolved in given amount of liquid solvent or just solvent. Okay, the volume of gas, here the gas will be the solute. It is dissolved in the given amount of solvent. For example, amount of HCl gas, hydrogen chloride gas, which is dissolved in the solvent, that is water. It is a liquid. Now, what is the volume of HCl that is dissolved in given amount of water? That will be the solubility of this gas, HCl gas. For example, 20 cm cube of HCl is dissolved in 100 ml of water. Then this 20 cm cube, that will be the solubility of HCl. This is the volume of this gas dissolved in given amount of solvent, liquid solvent. So this is the solubility of gas in liquid. Just like the solubility of gases, here also there are 4 factors which affect the solubility of gases. The first one is nature of gas, that is the solute. Nature of gas or nature of solute, both are same. And solvent. Nature of the gas and nature of the solvent. There are certain gases, for example, we take hydrogen gas, nitrogen gas, oxygen and helium. Okay, these gases, when they are dissolved in water, solvent, it is found that the solubility of these gases is very less. Okay, they are soluble in lesser extent. They are soluble in lesser extent. They do not dissolve completely. They are not completely soluble in water. However, let us look at another set of gases such as ammonium gas, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen chloride gas. When they are dissolved in water, it is found that the solubility, they are soluble in higher extent. The solubility is very high in water, whereas for these gases, the solubility is very less in water. Now, what is the reason? Why the solubility is less here? Why the solubility is more here? Why these gases do not dissolve completely in water? Whereas why these gases dissolve completely in water? The reason is chemical reactivity. Chemical reactivity of these gases with water. You have to know that if the chemical reactivity of gases with water or with solvent, if it is high, the chemical reactivity, if it is high, then solubility will be higher. Okay, chemical reactivity is directly proportional to solubility. If the reactivity is higher, solubility will be higher. Now, these gases react with water very easily. The reactivity of these gases with water is very high, hence they are easily soluble. They are soluble in higher extent because chemical reactivity is higher. Whereas these gases, they do not react with water very easily. The reactivity is very less with water, with the solvent. Hence, they are soluble in lesser extent. Reactivity, if it is higher, the solubility will be higher. If the chemical reactivity of gases it is lower, then the solubility will be lower. So this is the fact that you have to remember. Chemical reactivity of gas is directly proportional to solubility of gas in liquids. Now, when NH3 it reacts with water, you get sodium hydroxide. When SO2, sulfur dioxide, reacts with water, you get sulfurous acid, H2SO3. When hydrogen chloride reacts with water, you get hydrochloric acid. Hence, all these gases are highly reactive with water. Hence, they are easily soluble. They are completely dissolving in water. Now, this is the nature of gas and solvent. Nature of gas and solvent, it depends on the chemical reactivity of gases. Remember that if the chemical reactivity is higher, then the solubility will be higher. So this is the first factor deciding the solubility of gases in liquids. Now, we have the second factor that affects the solubility of gases in liquids, that is temperature. Yesterday also you studied about temperature, how temperature affects the solubility of solids in liquids. Yesterday you studied there were three trends. In the first trend, solubility increases with increase in temperature. In the second trend, the solubility decreases with increase in temperature. Whereas in the third trend, the solubility shows irregular behavior. First, it increases with increase in temperature, then it suddenly decreases. That is irregular behavior. So those were the three trends you studied yesterday when you studied solubility of solids in liquids. But here, how does the temperature affect the solubility of gases in liquids? Here there are no three trends, there is only one trend. We studied that solubility of gases, you have to know that it decreases with increase in temperature. As the temperature increases, what happens? The solubility of gas decreases. Yesterday also you studied this. There was the second trend. In the second trend, the solubility of solids decreased with increase in temperature. What was the reason in the second trend yesterday? It was the exothermic process. So when gases are dissolved in liquids, the dissolution process, the process of dissolution process, it is found that it is exothermic process. Okay, when gases are dissolved in liquids, it is found that there is liberation or release of heat energy. Exothermic process, exothermic reaction means heat energy will be liberated or released during the process, during the reaction. So you have solute, which is a gas. It is dissolved in liquid solvent. So what happens here? Solution will be formed, obviously. Solute plus solvent, it is solution. With liberation or release of heat energy. When solution is formed, heat energy will be liberated. It will be released from the solution. So, heat of solution will be negative for this solution. Negative because the heat energy is lost, it is released, hence it is negative. So you have to know that the solubility of gases in liquids, when gas is dissolved or put in the liquid, the dissolution process, it is exothermic process. And for all exothermic processes, according to Le Chatelier's principle, it is found that solubility of gases decreases with increase in temperature. The main reason for this trend, it is the process is exothermic. So this is the second factor that affects the solubility of gases. It's very simple to remember. Solubility of gases is inversely proportional to temperature. You have to remember this. It only applies for gases, the only trend for gases. Whereas for solids, there are three trends. But here for gases, this is the only trend. Solubility of gas is inversely proportional to temperature. As the temperature increases, solubility decreases. As the temperature decreases, the solubility increases. Hence, it is inversely proportional. Next, we have the last factor that affects the solubility of gases in liquids. A very important factor, that is pressure. Yesterday I explained you that the pressure does not affect the solubility of solids because solids cannot be compressed easily by applying pressure, whereas gases can be easily compressed by applying pressure. Hence, pressure affects the solubility of gases in liquids. How does it affect the solubility? Solubility of gas increases with increase in pressure. As the pressure increases, as more pressure is applied, what happens? More gaseous molecules are soluble. The solubility of gas increases as more pressure is applied. Increase in pressure of gas, increase in pressure of gas above the solution increases the solubility of the gas. Suppose we have two containers here, just one container. This is a container of a solution, solvent is present here. This is the solvent. It is a liquid solvent. Now, the gas is passed through this solution. Gas, certain gas, you can take nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, HCl gas, any gas. Gas is passed through this solution. Hence, what happens? The gaseous molecules will enter the container here. These are the gaseous atoms or molecules. Some gaseous atoms or molecules go into the solvent also. Then what happens? This container is closed using a piston. So the container is closed using a piston. So this is the piston. It is completely closed. Now there are gaseous molecules or atoms present in the container. Some of the gaseous molecules will enter the solvent. They will dissolve. But some gaseous molecules, they are roaming around freely in the empty space. You know that gaseous molecules can easily move around the empty space. Now, there is no pressure applied here. There is so much volume present here. there is so much volume available here because no pressure is applied. But what happens when the pressure is applied? For example, let us consider the same container when the pressure is applied. This is the solution, solvent. So gaseous molecules are present here. Now if the pressure is applied using the piston, it will push the gaseous molecules into the solvent. This piston, when pressure is applied like this, gaseous molecules will be pushed towards the solvent. Hence, let us say this much pressure is applied. This is the piston. Okay, you apply the pressure till here, so it comes here. Now what happens? The gaseous molecules are pushed towards the solvent. The gaseous molecules which are roaming in all directions, they will be pushed towards the solvent. Now they are moving towards the solvent in single direction. As more pressure will be applied, the gaseous molecules, all the gaseous molecules will go into the solvent. Hence they will all be soluble. So the solubility of gaseous molecules or gases, it depends on the pressure. If more pressure is applied, more gaseous molecules will be dissolving in the solvent. Hence we say that solubility of gas increases with increase in pressure. Increase in pressure of gas above solution. This is the solution. Okay, this is the solution. These are the gaseous molecules present above the solution. So if the pressure increases above the solution, what happens? The solubility of the gases will also increase. So this is a very important factor that you have to remember. Pressure is directly proportional to solubility. Now, we have one law here, that is Henry's law, very important. Henry's law discusses the effect of pressure on the solubility of gas. Now, we have a law here, that is Henry's law. This Henry's laws will explain the effect of pressure on the solubility of gas. According to Henry's law, there are two statements for Henry's law. The first statement, mass of a gas, can take any gas, mass of a certain gas which is dissolved. This gas which is dissolved per unit volume of solvent. Mass of a gas, the mass of a gas which is dissolved in unit volume. Unit volume means 1 cm cube of solvent. It is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas. This is the first statement of Henry's law. The mass of a gas which is dissolved per unit volume of the solvent, it is directly proportional to amount of pressure applied on the gas. So you have to remember this. So mass, we'll take it as M. It is directly proportional to P, pressure. If you want to remove this proportionality symbol, you have to introduce proportionality constant. Hence, M will be equal to K multiplied by P. Here K is nothing but proportionality constant. So this is the first mathematical expression for Henry's law constant. Mass of a gas which is dissolved in 1 cm cube or unit volume of solvent, it is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas, the amount of pressure applied on the gas. If you remove the proportionality symbol with proportionality constant, you get M is equal to K multiplied by P, where K is known as a constant, proportionality constant. So this is the first mathematical expression for Henry's law. Now, the second mathematical expression for Henry's law constant, the previous one was M is directly proportional to pressure. In this statement, you will be taking mass of the gas. Instead of taking mass of the gas, you can make it simpler by taking mole fraction. So, mole fraction of the gas, we find it directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas. Okay, so this is the second mathematical expression. This is the mole fraction of the gas. We studied mole fraction. This is partial pressure of the gas. It's very important. Mole fraction of the gas is directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas. If more number of moles of gas are involved in the solution, the pressure applied will be more. Hence, it is directly proportional. Now, if you want to remove this proportionality symbol, this mole fraction is equal to, we'll take it as K dash, because previously I have already taken K, hence I am taking K dash, multiplied by partial pressure. Remember that this partial pressure, the pressure will be given by small letter p, not capital P. Okay, so mole fraction, it is equal to K dash multiplied by P. Now, if I send this K dash on the other side, the partial pressure will be equal to X by K dash. It's not X actually, it's mole fraction. So 1 by K dash multiplied by mole fraction. I'm sending this K dash on the other side. So it comes under denominator. Now, we can assume that 1 by K dash is equal to KH. We can assume that 1 by K dash, it is equal to KH. Hence, we'll get partial pressure is equal to, so what is 1 by K dash? It is KH multiplied by mole fraction. This is the second and main mathematical expression for Henry's law. The partial pressure of the gas is equal to the product of KH and mole fraction of the gas. Here, the KH, you have to remember, very important, the KH, it is known as Henry's law constant. The KH, it is known as Henry's law constant. Now, by this mathematical expression, we get the second statement for Henry's law, the main statement of Henry's law. According to this mathematical expression, we get that Henry's law states that the mole fraction of the gas, is directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas. You have to remember this. This is the second statement and the main statement. Forget the first one. First one is not important. It's the main statement for Henry's law. The mole fraction of the gas is directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas. And what is the main mathematical expression? It is this one. Partial pressure is equal to KH multiplied by mole fraction of the gas. What is KH here? KH is nothing but Henry's law constant. The unit for Henry's law constant, the unit for KH is nothing but atmospheric pressure or bar. Okay, this is the unit for KH. So this is Henry's law. Very important. It explains the effect of pressure on solubility of gases. If the pressure is more, the number of moles of gas dissolving or soluble in the solution is more. The mole fraction of the gas is directly proportional to partial pressure of the gas. This is the statement for Henry's law. Now, Let us look at some of the facts about Henry's law constant, that is Kh. The first fact that you have to remember is the Henry's law constant Kh, it depends on nature of the gas and solvent. The Henry's law constant, it depends on the nature of the gas and solvent. Whether the gas is highly reactive with the solvent or it is less reactive with the solvent. That is the nature of gas and the solvent. The second one, you have to know that the Henry's law constant is inversely proportional to solubility of gas. So very important fact you have to remember. Henry's law constant, it is inversely proportional to solubility of the gas. If the solubility of the gas is higher, the value of Kh will be lower. If the value of Kh is higher, then the solubility of the gas will be lower. Hence we say that inversely proportional. Now, we know that solubility of gas is inversely proportional to temperature. Just previously you studied. Solubility is inversely proportional to temperature. As the temperature increases, solubility decreases. So combining both these equations, you can write that the Henry's law constant is directly proportional to temperature. Okay, the Henry's law constant is directly proportional to temperature. If the temperature increases, the value of Kh will also increase. So these are the three facts about Henry's law constant we have to remember. It depends on the nature of the gas and the solvent. Henry's law constant is inversely proportional to solubility, whereas it is directly proportional to temperature. Next, let us look at the applications of Henry's law, where the Henry's law is most applicable in day-to-day lives. The first important application for Henry's law is in the production of carbonated beverages. Carbonated beverages. Beverages means drinks. Okay, so carbonated beverages, for example, we have soft drinks, okay, cold drinks, we have soda water, then alcoholic drinks like beer or champagne. These are all carbonated beverages or carbonated drinks. They all contain carbon dioxide gas, okay, CO2 gas. In order to dissolve more amount of CO2 gas in these bottles, if you want to dissolve more CO2 gas in these bottles, what it is done, the bottles of these drinks, they are sealed under high pressure. Using high pressure, the bottles of these drinks are sealed. When the high pressure is applied, more gas is soluble because solubility is directly proportional to pressure. If more pressure is applied, more CO2 gas is soluble in these drinks. Hence, bottles of these drinks are sealed under high pressure because in order to dissolve more CO2 gas. Okay, so this is the first application in the production of carbonated beverages. The bottles of all these beverages, all these drinks are sealed under high pressure in order to dissolve more amount of CO2 gas in them. Now, let us look at the second application of Henry's law, that is in deep sea diving. This Henry's law is applicable in deep sea diving, also known as scuba diving. You might have seen this in movies or in television where the divers will go into the depth of the sea. Now, For the divers, for the professional divers, the compressed air is used. For breathing in the sea. These professional divers used compressed air in order to breathe in the depth of the sea. The compressed air mainly contains oxygen. Along with oxygen, nitrogen gas is also present. This compressed air, which is present in the oxygen tank, you might have seen in the movies, oxygen tank will be present on the back. So compressed air mainly contains oxygen. It also contains nitrogen gas. Now when the divers are present on the surface of the earth, when the divers are still present on the surface of the earth, these gases are not soluble in our blood. So when they are present on the surface of the earth, these gases are not soluble in our blood. Why they are not soluble? Because pressure is very less. The pressure of these gases on the surface of the earth is very less. If the pressure is less, the solubility will be less. Hence, these gases are not soluble in our blood when we are present on the surface of the earth. But when the divers will dive into the depth of the sea, when the divers will go into the sea, what happens? When the divers will go into the sea, the pressure increases. As they go more deep into the sea, the pressure will keep on increasing. When the pressure increases, what happens? The solubility increases. We learned that the solubility of gas is directly proportional to pressure. As the pressure increases, the solubility of gas increases. So when the divers go into the sea, the pressure increases. Hence the solubility of gas increases. So when the divers inhale the gas from the oxygen tank in the sea, the gases will get dissolved in the blood. So these oxygen and nitrogen gas, they will dissolve in our blood streams and also in our body fluids. Okay, as the divers go into the sea, they go into the depth of the sea, the pressure increases. Hence the solubility of the gas also increases. Hence oxygen and nitrogen gas which are present in the tank, they will get dissolved in our blood streams. They will get dissolved in our body fluids. Okay, now when the divers will come back to the surface of the earth after exploring the sea, when the divers will come back to the surface of the earth, what happens? The pressure decreases. The pressure of the gas on the surface of the earth is very less. Hence, when the divers will come back to the surface of the earth, the pressure of the gas will decrease. If the pressure of the gas will decrease, then what happens? Especially this nitrogen, which is dissolved in our bloodstream, it will come out of the body. Okay, the nitrogen gas which is dissolved in our bloodstream, which is dissolved in our body fluids, it will come out of these blood streams. It will come out of our body when the divers will come back to the surface of the earth. Now, the nitrogen gas will come out of our body in the form of bubbles. In the form of small bubbles, the nitrogen will come out of the blood streams. It will come out of the body fluids. When the nitrogen come out in the form of bubbles, what happens? It will lead to a condition called bends. Okay, when the divers will come back to the surface of the earth, what happens? The nitrogen gas will come out of our body in the form of bubbles. Then it leads to the medical condition called bends. These bends, this condition is very dangerous. Okay, it will lead to the restriction of blood flow. It will restrict the blood flow in our body. It will restrict the transmission of nerve impulses in our body. Hence, this condition is very dangerous. Hence, in order to avoid these bends, in order to prevent these bubbles, what is used? Helium gas is used. Okay, along with oxygen and nitrogen, what is done? Helium gas will be added to compressed air. This helium gas, it will prevent the condition bends, because helium gas, this gas is very less soluble in our bloodstreams. It is very less soluble in our body fluids. The solubility of this helium gas is very less. Hence, it will prevent the bends, it will prevent the bubbles formed by nitrogen gas. So this is the application of Henry's law in deep sea diving, also known as scuba diving. Now, the last application we have here is at high altitudes. It is exactly opposite to scuba diving. In scuba diving, I told you that the pressure in the sea, at the depth of the sea, the pressure is very high. Whereas at high altitudes, like mountains, Mount Everest or Himalayas, at high altitudes, the pressure is very less. Especially the partial pressure of oxygen. The partial pressure of oxygen is very less. Where it is very less? At high altitudes like Mount Everest or Himalayas, it is very less. Now, when the pressure is very less, what is also very less? Solubility will be less. Again, solubility is directly proportional to pressure. If the pressure is low, solubility will be low. So, partial pressure of the oxygen is very less at high altitudes. That means the solubility of oxygen, in blood will be low. Since the partial pressure is low, the solubility will also be low. Hence, people living at the high altitudes, the mountain climbers, they use oxygen tanks, because at high altitudes, the solubility, the amount of oxygen present in blood is very less. Hence, the people who live at high altitudes, they have certain conditions, medical conditions. They will be very weak. They cannot think properly, because the solubility, the amount of oxygen present in the blood will be very less. Why it will be less? Because the partial pressure of oxygen at high altitudes is very less. Hence, they have a condition called anoxia. Anoxia means the body becomes very weak. The person cannot think properly. Okay, because the amount of oxygen present in our blood is very less at high altitudes. So this is the third application for Henry's law.